know y'all just be watching 5 seconds of the video and then run to the comment section. No, boo, watch the whole video.
We still Hustle Daily. What's going on, Hustle Nation? Welcome back to another video. It's your boy Big Play Ray coming to y'all with another video. And this girl done went off on Dr. Phil. I don't know. I guess she was on a Dr. Phil show. We about to see what's happening. Make sure y'all smash that like button. I appreciate and love y'all for all y'all support, man. Y'all don't know how much I appreciate y'all. We about to get right into it. Story time. Tell us what Dr. Phil did. Do Dr. Phil be talking to people crazy on Dr. Phil? I think he do, don't he? He be going off on people, right? I don't know, but we about to see.
Fuck you, Dr. Phil. Fuck Dr. Phil. I would never do this again. I actually would never do this again in my whole life. I wish nothing but ill wishes for you and your whole crew, Dr. fucking Phil. Okay, so story time for my Dr. Phil experience. Worst thing that I've ever done.
Tell us what happened.
Warning for y'all though, I don't think this story's gonna be as dramatic as you guys want it to be. I wasn't invited on Dr. Phil. I wasn't a guest. No, I was just an audience member. I was basically just an extra. So for everyone calling me stupid and a stupid little B word for going on the show, I wasn't on the show. I wasn't on the show. Like, I technically was on the show, but not in the way that y'all think I was on the show. Also, compared to how everything's edited, I might not be on the show at all, and I'll tell you why. So if you guys know me, you guys know I make commentary videos and essay videos, and people like them sometimes. If you don't know me, that's basically what I do on here. And if you're new, hey, hi, welcome. This is probably the wrong video to introduce myself to you, but basically I make a lot of videos on here about incel culture, white supremacy, imperialism, colonialism, American history, etc. I do a lot of deep dives on here and analytical critical analysis. That is very important. But what a lot of people don't know about me is that I like to go on weird little side quests. Any like spontaneous trip or weird little event that I can go to and find, and niche little kind of hobby that I can pick up, I do it so I can potentially add to my lore. Basically, if it
Hey, that sound kind of fun. I ain't gonna lie. Shit. Hey, I go Dr. Phil and sit in that motherfucker and just watch too. Yeah.
don't make a good story, I'll most likely do it. So this all starts back February, April-ish, and I kept seeing flyers on Instagram to be a guest on Dr. Phil's show as an audience member for completely free. This was very naive of me. Very, very naive of me. I knew Dr. Phil's a bad person. I know that he's a Trump supporter. I know that he's very right-wing. I know all the bad things mostly that he's done. I don't support anything he's done. I actually really don't like him as a person. I just thought in my little head, let's go to be a troll. Like, let's go troll the crew, troll the cameras, like, make faces at the camera so the footage is unusable. I was gonna make funny TikToks, just, like, being annoying on the set. And yeah, that didn't happen. It was, like, ethically a little bit of a moral gray area, but in my mind, I was like, well, I'm not paying for the tickets. I'm not gonna pay for merch. I don't want to financially support him in any way. I'm just kind of there as a body. And if I'm just being annoying, then it'll balance out, you know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, I was just going for my own amusement to just be annoying. But that didn't happen. So fast forward to about a month ago, and they give me my tickets. Here's the email I got yesterday just confirming everything. Note that there's like no type of warning to the content that they're going to show you on the show. The only type of information I got from these emails was that there's going to be some light snacks given, what time to be there, and that there was a very, very strict dress code. It had to be dark, business casual, code was dressed to impress. I was actually a little bit excited about this because trolling Dr. Phil, like making videos at Dr. Phil's studio, was gonna be the funniest thing to me ever. I'll make a whole get ready with me. I'm like, okay, this is gonna be so funny. I pregame Dr. Phil, and I'm low-key excited not to see Dr. Phil, but to just be able to be a little troll and giggle during Dr. Phil's taping. Because in my mind, Dr. Phil is more adjacent to Jerry Springer than anything, so I was thinking that maybe I'm just gonna see couples fighting and like divorce stories and that type of content, but that's not what happened. So first I pull up with my two friends, and immediately vibes are off. Vibes are off. I do live in Texas though, and this is filming in Texas, so it's not abnormal to see cars with big giant Trump flags and Trump banners, but there was a little bit too many things happening at that area to where it was a little bit uncomfortable. There was multiple times where we looked around and we're like, wait, why are we the only people that look like us? Most of the audience waiting in line with us were older Caucasian women, which is to be expected, especially in the area that I live in, especially considering it was a Dr. Phil taping on a Tuesday morning. There were some older men there as well, but the vibe was just off. And people around us, their specific vibe around us was very, very off. I'm just telling you guys, like, you just gotta trust me. It was weird. And we tried to ignore it. We're like, maybe we're just nervous. Like, maybe this is just, we're just nervous to, like, be around cameras, and this seems pretty intimidating. Maybe that's what it is. But let's not psych ourselves out, because maybe we're just, maybe we're just overthinking it. No, babe, that was not the case. So we wait about an hour for the first show, and they say that we can leave and come back if we want to make it to the second show, and we'll be first in line to get front row. So me and my girls go get brunch, we get some drinks, and we come back to see Dr. Phil. So we get back to the building, and we're watching the end of the first episode that they're currently filming. It was super normal. I thought nothing of it. It was just, I think, a mother and son having a discussion about something. I didn't pay attention to it too much, but nothing that would give me red flags as to what was to come. So we're in the studio, about to take our seats, and someone from a staff asks us, our party of 3, if we're okay to sit in the front row because the cameras will be on us. We say yes. We're just looking around, kind of just taking in everything, because it's very surreal to be on a set like that. And we're looking at the crowd behind us, and we're thinking, oh, this is getting sus. The vibes were already bad. They were already off. But the more we started taking in the environment around us, we're like, this is wrong. Like, something bad is here. So we start waiting, and Dr. Phil comes out. Again, zero context about what this man is about to talk to for the whole show. He goes on a whole rant talking about immigration. And when I tell you, it's exactly word for word the rhetoric that I fight here on TikTok every day. It was insane. It was like the propaganda that I constantly talk about on here was put in front of my face. Like I was inside the political cartoon that I talk about. It's cool. Dude, it was fucking insane how racist this experience was. It goes on about how illegal aliens are rapists and assaulting and kidnapping American children. They're planning fentanyl for high schoolers to get into, and the most obvious ICE propaganda you could imagine. And I'm immediately flooded with emotion, and I don't care. You can call me a woke, sensitive little liberal. I am not scared to have empathy for other people. It's very easy to see why someone of my identity would get very emotional about things like this. Because I personally am affected by a lot of these things. And it especially triggered me because during this whole episode, they kept mentioning Venezuelan immigrants as rapists. And especially children rapists. Over and over and over this rhetoric, while my father is Venezuelan. Immediately I'm at tears, because I can't do anything to get out of the situation at this point. And if I thought it couldn't get any worse, guess who was introduced to the crowd? Tom Homan. If you don't know, Tom Homan is a, quote, elected border czar for President-elect Donald Trump. He's a disgusting human being. And I've reposted so many videos of the things that he's done and said to the American people, absolutely encouraging racist behaviors and downright alt-right propaganda. And I look around and I am so shocked in what I put myself through. The things that these men were saying while the crowd was cheering and applauding, I kept looking around like, I am literally in a room with every single op imaginable. With all the remarks said about immigrants, every single time there'd be cheering and clapping from the audience. It was very surreal. I had realized at that moment I had definitely just attended a MAGA rally. That's what that was. I just put myself in a MAGA rally and I became the front row poster child for diversity for the Dr. Phil staff. Not to say that there wasn't any people of color in the audience, but yeah. Here's highlights from the show that really stuck in my brain. Tom Homan saying, quote, I'm going to keep calling them aliens as long as it's illegal. People asking Tom Homan directly from the audience if they will have any type of forgiveness for their illegal stay because they've never committed any crimes. And they've built a life of 20 plus years here and they want their children to live in beautiful America. And Tom Homan directly looking at them in the face and eyes and saying, well, there's no excuse for illegal immigration. That happened twice, actually. They also had a small section talking about this conspiracy about how Chinese migrants are taking plots of land in cities that have power grids in order to send our power back to China. Like they're somehow hacking American systems and sending all of our resources to China through these farms. I don't know, man. The way they would mention SA in every single point they would make in every single sentence to bring it back to why illegal immigration is so dangerous. It's protect the children, protect your children. They're taking our children, they're SAing the children. They have these illegal SA rings they're putting our children through. They kept replaying the same right-wing clips about the Venezuelan gangs taking over cities. The whole episode was violent fear-mongering. I was so in shock. If there was some type of warning before the show saying what would be talked about, I would not have gone. The way I mean mugged everybody in the studio, and I out loud said a couple times WTF because of how ridiculous everything was, I hope that they can't use any of the footage that I'm included in. And I made sure if I'm included in anything, everybody knows I'm having a terrible time. I felt absolutely disgusting in there. If I could take it all back, I would. I wanted to leave so bad, but there was no breaks. And I was scared that if I were to interrupt this whole set footage, that the contract I signed would violate something and I would somehow get arrested or in trouble. I don't know. I was paranoid, and the people around me and the audience around me were definitely not going to be on my side for anything I did at this point. It seemed low-key kind of scary and dangerous. I mean, they technically could probably do something to me now if they sent me a cease and desist, but I would just take the videos down, honestly. Anyways, I didn't stand up for any of the show. Not one time. You could not catch me celebrating one part of that show. I sat my ass down, okay? They also, throughout the entire show, kept celebrating and congratulating Greg Abbott. And if you're from Texas, you know, okay? And if you're not from Texas, he's a crazy conservative. Greg Abbott hates women's rights and has said that Biden's administration is the only reason he doesn't unalive immigrants. Greg Abbott is my op. I've been voting against him since I could vote. Abbott has passed multiple policies now that have made it legal for police to racially profile the public. It grants police to be able to detain anyone that they deem suspicious of being illegal. They also, throughout this whole taping, had Texas Land Commissioner Dawn Buckingham in the audience with us and had her speak. She talked about the direct donation into Trump's administration in order for them to make more detainment camps. And while she was talking about these detainment camps, her, Dr. Phil, and that other asshole were laughing about it the entire time, gloating about what they were about to put immigrants through. Like, this isn't a conspiracy. I just saw a meeting between these officials in person, which will be televised for other people to see, I think, about next week. Out of all the people this could have happened to, me, out of all people, was the craziest thing ever. It's what I talk about here constantly on this app, and I saw it so up close and personal. I could touch it with my hands. It was so disturbing. So finally, the show ended, and I felt so defeated, honestly. Like, I was contemplating on what I just did. I could barely keep my composure, honestly, about this whole situation. And just looking around me and looking around this giant group of people and knowing that they literally hate you. So yeah, then I left and made that video about how I hate Dr. Phil. And I've always hated Dr. Phil. I've never thought he was a good person at all. I knew he was a Trump supporter. I knew of these connections that he had. But I just didn't think that that's what I would walk into today at all. I genuinely thought I was there to be an extra in a stupid daytime reality show. We're just gonna witness like a clippable, viral, funny moment, or some people fighting and arguing about something stupid. That is not what I thought was gonna happen. I'm just so angry about this whole thing. Like, that was genuinely so shocking. I walked out of there feeling like I went through something. Like, I really went through something. You can call me dramatic, I literally don't care. But when a person to your face says that people from your country are rapists for 2 hours straight, you're gonna get affected. I have a lot of things at stake with the Trump administration. I talk about it here all the time. But seeing so up close and personal, like the true hate that these people have for someone that looks like me, it was a lot. I was just completely blindsided, honestly. I've had some context to what was going on. I wouldn't have signed up. I actually probably would have just left the studio completely, despite me waiting over an hour in line at that point. I would have just gone home because it was really a lot that I witnessed. There was a section where we could ask questions to the guest speaker. I raised my hand very high. I was about to give my big 2 cents in, and they, of course, ignored me. I don't necessarily blame them because I was cussing under my breath for the whole filming, so they definitely knew I was going to be an issue. I just felt stupid for letting them put me in the front row. And witnessing politicians say to my face, the ones that have the power to actually put in these policies against me, to my face, say all of these things, it's so real. and so disturbing. I honestly wanted to cry so bad after. It was terrible. I literally freaked out, like right after I left the studio. This video I'm making is on Tuesday, December 3rd. Supposedly, the episode will come out on Monday, December 9th. I don't want to promote his show in any way. That taping was so close to just hate speech. But now if you catch me on there and see my face in the front row, I'm in the front row and I'm wearing a black blazer jacket and a black and white shirt. That's me, and I'm not having a good time. I don't want people to go out of their way to look and watch this and potentially give Dr. Phil money. But people also need to know what these politicians are doing. They're going on daytime reality shows and profiting off fear-mongering and violent rhetoric against immigrants. And it's not a woke left thing. I just saw with my very two eyes and heard with my very two ears all of these promises that these politicians just promised during this taping. So yeah, that's basically how it ended up at a MAGA rally. Posts on here have always garnered weird attention, weird comments. I think it's to be expected because I'm a girl on the internet. And given the content that I make, it's very expected. But I have that Dr. Phil video and the videos talking about this whole situation up for less than 24 hours at this point. And everything has turned into a fucking cesspool, to say the least. When I say I hit the wrong side of TikTok, that is an understatement. Probably the biggest understatement of the century. I have literally people in these comments calling my family rapists and calling me racial slurs. And I'm not here to talk to those people directly, because honestly, that is way too many children left behind for me to attempt to save. I'm just here to talk about my experience a little bit further and why it was for me specifically so important. So why was I there even in the first place? This is where I fucked up, okay? This is where I made a stupid decision on my part, because I genuinely thought that the Dr. Phil experience would be something of like a Jerry Springer-esque show. But that's not what happened. But that's what I've usually seen from Dr. Phil shows. It's like a divorce proceeding and someone sugar baby this and someone stole my credit card or my daughter's a bitch. Like, people fighting, and that's what I expected. And so when I went into this, I was like, this is just a goofy little side quest to say I was in this extra of this Dr. Phil show, and I wanted to troll. And when I say that, people are misconstruing what I say. What I mean is that I am just going there for fun. Like, I wasn't going to pull some Tana Mojo Jerry Springer stuff. Like, I wasn't going to set up this whole elaborate plan and make this whole thing. I was literally there just to take pictures of me, like, twerking next to Dr. Phil memorabilia. And to maybe laugh in the camera and make goofy faces while I'm in the audience. That's, like, as far as my trolling was willing to go. I was doing this whole experience because I assumed it would be fun. Like, it would be throwaway, trashy TV like Dr. Phil usually is. And I was wrong. I messed up. I was so, in fact, excited for this experience that I stupidly pre-gamed for Dr. Phil, even. And so did a couple other people in line. I ended up talking to some people that were with us in line, and they did the same thing because they thought it would be fun. Instead, I was used as a pawn for right-wing propaganda and forced to be a bystander for all the hate rhetoric that I speak against on this app. It was really fucking intense. And if I knew any of the topics discussed were going to be the center of attention, I wouldn't have gone. Which was my big problem with everything that happened, is that I had no context as to what I would be walking into. I didn't think anything of it. The staff was super friendly. There was nothing that was off about the actual production team. Even when I got my tickets, like, all of the management team seemed really, really nice. The crowd was a different problem. But the management team and everybody in the Dr. Phil staff was actually really, really polite. So I didn't expect what happened to happen to me. So me and my party of 3 did leave before the second taping because the first taping was at capacity limit. They told us that if we were to come back, we could come back in line and we'd have higher availability for seats and we'd probably be the first ones in line, have a higher chance to get into the front row. We were like, okay, cool. We didn't really care if we were in the front row or not. That was not a request of ours. We just wanted to get a seat to a show that we thought we were going to see because we were waiting in line for about an hour at this point. And they asked us if we wanted to be in the front row because the cameras were going to be on us. And we said yes. Very, very stupidly. Because this put me in a position to be a poster child for diversity for Dr. Phil's right-wing propaganda. A lot of people asked me also why I didn't speak up during this whole thing. And I tried. Dr. Phil's team had a segment where they gave microphones to the audience to be able to ask questions to the guests. I was very, very vocal, raised my hand very high. I made my presence very known, and they blatantly ignored me. That's to be expected though. I was very visibly angry during this whole taping. I also didn't feel very safe. Honestly, the whole crowd was chanting MAGA, so if I were to speak up, it's not like I exactly would have anybody on my side. And a very important detail that I missed is that they took our phones before any of the taping. I didn't have access to my phone in case I wanted to leave. It was locked up in a safe surrounded by Dr. Phil's staff. So if I did stand up and make a scene, which I did think about, I most likely wouldn't have gotten my phone back and wouldn't have had a way to leave the building. We did go through security, so there were security guards. There were lots of police in the parking lot and lots of production assistants. This wasn't exactly the prime environment for me to start a revolution. They also, in detail, graphically described SA throughout the whole taping and really used it for fearmongering, and that's a big trigger for me. So if I knew that that was going to be a subject in the taping as well, I wouldn't have gone either, regardless of the illegal immigration stuff. Which is why I think what they did was so morally unethical and gross. I just wanted to go to have a good time with my friends and shitpost on Instagram that I was on Dr. Phil. But instead, I was basically ambushed with hate speech. And I walked into a MAGA rally. And I talk about in all my essay videos, I know a lot of things, but I'm not that smart. And I don't say that to demean myself, and I don't say that to get pity comments. I say that to emphasize that anybody is susceptible to propaganda. And yesterday, I was a tool used in right-wing propaganda. I constantly make video essays on here about critical analysis and to be aware of your own environment. And I still got duped. And it's nobody else's fault but mine. Honestly, that's the reality of it. If I looked further into why Dr. Phil's new studio was so close to me in Texas, I would have understood exactly the mission for his new show. Yes, Dr. Phil's show was canceled for some amount of time, but it was because he was moving production companies. Main Street Media, the new production company, was tagged under all the emails, and all the representatives of his show that were contacting me directly about my tickets were from Main Street Media. Dr. Phil made a new studio to push hate speech and propaganda because the production company he works with, Main Street Media, lobbies with Republican companies. And it's all there on their mission website if I had just checked. I had talked directly to representatives of Main Street Media and even on the phone to get extra tickets for a friend I wanted to bring. Everything was directly available for me to find. Everything, which is so disappointing. My Mike Tyson and Jake Paul video blowing up because I'm talking about how the media will shift far right and these companies will push propaganda to mainstream platforms. And then me not knowing that I would be the audience for the mainstream platform. Not even, 2 weeks later? The irony is crazy. I can't believe that I did that to myself. This goes to show how just accessible this all is. As smart as you can be, as critical of media you can be, you can still fall into traps like this. I fell into the trap. I was in the propaganda that I warned everyone about. I don't think think you guys understand. I feel dumb. I feel so dumb. But yeah, I guess it's just a warning to you guys. Maybe it's not too bad. Maybe I was the perfect person to put in this situation to sit front row this so I could relay my experience on the platform, because it's true. I was talking about this exact thing 2 weeks ago. So, stars aligned, I guess, maybe. Jesus, I really didn't think that that was the direction my life was going to take me. But, at least I got the lore that I wanted. A lot more than I originally thought I was going to get. I swear to you guys, all I wanted from this experience was to take a selfie with a Dr. Phil cutout and be goofy on the backstage of a Dr. Phil set and make funny little silly TikToks with Dr. Phil audios. That's all I wanted. And I was a tool for white nationalism against my will. For anyone for this to happen to, it was me. Which is why I'm so upset. And why I can't stop thinking about it. And why I can't stop posting it. Because I should have taken my own advice here. I feel so dumb, okay? I guess this is a stupid woke liberal moment for you guys, okay? I got this one this time. Got me that time. Don't be like me, okay? Do as I say, not as I do. Clearly. This is a life lesson for all of us, I guess.
Hey, listen, I ain't really into this politics and all of this shit and all that shit and who should be president and being a Republican and being a Democrat. I'm not really into that, but you feel me? She took her ass on the show and she didn't know what was going on the show. She thought it was gonna be like Jerry Springer, surprise, goddamn. I don't really care about no presidents, who the president or nothing like that. But all I want to do is whoever gonna have some money flowing around this motherfucker, right? Because on my main channel, We Hustle Daily, you feel me? Like, as a matter of fact, as of right now, goddamn, I got a motherfucking Hyundai for sale, and motherfuckers acting like they don't got $2,000. They acting like they don't got $2,500. This is my last car that I gotta sell, and they acting like they don't got $2,500 right now. Right? And Trump just got into office. So I don't know what the fuck Biden was doing. Whoever the fuck gonna get this economy going, whoever the fuck gonna have this money floating around, because I'm tired of motherfuckers offering me, disrespecting me when I post a car for sale. You feel me? Make sure y'all follow my main channel, We Hustle Daily. You feel me? That's my big YouTube channel, over 200,000 subscribers. If y'all didn't know, this is my small YouTube channel, but I'm over here way more than I'm over there now. You know what I'm saying? So whoever gonna get this shit straightened out and get this money flowing in, that's who I'm with. But as far as her situation, shit, Dr. Phil be funny. I don't really know too much about Dr. Phil. Or I used to watch a little bit of Jerry Springer when I was younger. I think everybody know Jerry Springer, right? But I ain't really not watched like Dr. Phil though, so I don't know what the fuck Dr. Phil talking about. Appreciate y'all for tuning in and rocking with me, man. That's all I gotta say about this video. It's your boy Ray, Big Play. Shit, whoever gonna have that money goddamn flowing around, that's who I'm with. Peace.